A question that comes up not as commonly, but sometimes is facials and other skin treatments that people might do, like peels, for instance. You generally want to stick to milder treatments, something more like hydrating facials or oxygen facials. You want to avoid things that are really the harsh peels with salicylic acids, just because your skin is more sensitive in pregnancy. And so you may have a lot more redness and a lot more irritation than you normally would. Welcome to my fertility podcast, Superhumans, the show that brings you expert insights, personal stories, and the latest in fertility care all in one place.
Whether you're starting your fertility journey, navigating challenges, or just exploring your options, we're here to empower you with knowledge, support, and hope.
Join us as we dive deep into topics that matter most, from IVF and fertility treatments to mental health and wellness.
I'm Dr. Mavis Garcia.
And I'm Dr. Wise. We're two of the fertility specialists at Markham Fertility Centre in Markham, Ontario, Canada. Think of us as your sisters in all things fertility. Let's demystify the world of fertility together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my fertility podcast. And Dr. Garcia, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Dr. Marta Weiss.
Oh, well, thank you for that very kind introduction.
I do think you're amazing.
Oh, I think you're pretty amazing too. Hello, everyone. I also happen to think that all of our listeners are pretty amazing as well. This is a really interesting topic that we're going to be talking about today, and it's a little different. I mean, this is not the stuff that you expect your fertility doctor necessarily to be talking about, but it's something that comes up a lot. And I know that lots of people have lots of questions about this. And so we're going to be talking about beauty products, beauty treatments, and pregnancy, and sort of the effect and the do's and don'ts of pregnancy when it comes to the full gamut of beauty related things.
Yes, and I think it's one of the most common questions I get. Can I color my hair? Can I do my highlights? Can I continue my regular beauty routine? And just because you're pregnant doesn't mean that everything is off the table and that you have to put everything on hold. We're going to go into what is safe and what it isn't. And of course, I know that you want this baby to be safe and healthy. That has you reading every label and Googling everything. So we've got you covered.
And of course, we always have our own opinions about all of these things. So we'll definitely have some fun today as well. So let's jump right in.
So here's the big question. Why should we care about beauty products in pregnancy? Well, during pregnancy, your skin can absorb a small amounts of whatever it is that you put into it. While most ingredients are perfectly safe, some can affect your hormones and even cross the placenta, which is why we do need to have a lot of conversation about it.
Before we dive into the nitty gritty of all of this, let us emphasize one big thing here. You do not need to panic. All right. Occasional use of most products is not harmful. We really just want to help keep you informed so that you can make simple, small changes as needed just to reduce the risk a little bit.
Yes, I cannot emphasize this enough. If you're listening to this episode after you are like, I don't know, late in the third trimester and you're thinking, oh my God, I didn't know any of this. I have completely ruined my pregnancy and ruined my baby. Please, please, please don't do that to yourself. To be honest, I didn't know any of these things when I was pregnant. I'm actually learning a lot as I prepare for this episode because I keep getting these questions. So don't worry too much. It's just now that you know, you do what you can, and that's that. Let's talk about shampoos and conditioners to start with. These are items that we use daily, so it's worth checking the ingredients. One of the big things in it is parabens. They are preservative and they've been linked to hormone disruption. And of course, there is also the phthalates, which can be hidden under the word fragrance. So when you are looking at the ingredients of shampoo and conditioners, look for products that are labeled fragrance free. The word unscented, it's different. It's not the same thing. You want to look for things that are fragrance free because these are the ones that do not include any phthalates in them. Ideally, you want to look for products that do not have parabens or phthalates.
So, next up, another big area where we get a lot of questions is around things like lotions, moisturizers, serums, toners, and all the other kind of skincare products that people may use. So the big caveat to that is, you want to avoid things that contain retinoids. So this is a big family of vitamin A derivatives that are in many skincare products, especially those for anti-aging or anti-acne. And they can go under the name of retinol, retinol palmitate as well. So anything that kind of starts with the words retin is an ingredient you want to avoid. I love my retinols. I am a big retinol girly, and I can talk about it at nauseam about what I think that they've done for my skin. And they are fabulous for anti aging and fabulous if you're suffering from pimples, breakouts, acne, but they really should not be used in pregnancy. Although the amount that gets absorbed into the body is relatively low, we know that very high levels of vitamin A, of which retinol is in that family, is linked to certain birth defects when taken in very high doses. Another skincare ingredient that you want to watch out for is hydroquinone, which is often used in skin lightening products. So these are products that might be targeting blemishes, dark spots. Again, this ingredient may also be dangerous for pregnancy and for baby. And of course, as always, it's better to avoid synthetic fragrances because these can be quite irritating to the skin. What's a good alternative? So try and look for products that will have natural ingredients like aloe vera or shea butter.
Let's talk makeup, lipstick, foundation, mascaras. These are products that are commonly used and they're mostly very safe and can be continued to be used in pregnancy if you like using them. However, I think it's worth mentioning that some of them can come with some hidden risk. Lead in lipstick is one example. While a tiny amount is not a concern, some brands may have more than others, and it might be worth looking into brands that actually test for heavy metals. Another thing to think about in the makeup is the ones that contain parabens and phthalates are best to be avoided in pregnancy.
And moving a little bit further south down our bodies, down our arms, let's think about our nails and nail care. So, it's interesting. Nail polish can be a bit of a tricky one during pregnancy. There are many different types of nail polish with different ingredients, but in pregnancy, it's probably best to avoid formulas that have toluene, formaldehyde, or dibutyl phthalate or DBP. So these are known toxins. Now, again, if you got a manicure done 6 weeks of pregnancy or before you even knew you were pregnant, the risk to baby, the risk to pregnancy, the risk to you is very small, but it's something to be aware of as a way to try and avoid added risk. The good news is that now there are so many nail polishes out there that will say things that they're like 3 free or 5 free. And they're specifically talking about the big three or the big five, some more worrisome chemicals. And so there are more and more nail polish brands that are excluding these chemicals out there. Just have to be mindful and try and find those.
All right, so now let's talk about stretch marks. They're very, very common, affecting up to 90% of pregnant women. The medical term is called striae gravidarum, and it can affect different parts of the body. They usually show up in the abdomen, breast, thighs, and buttocks. And it's definitely influenced by things like genetics, which we cannot do anything about, weight gain, as well as hormonal changes. The main issue with stretch marks is that the skin collagen or the elastin fibers can get disrupted due to the rapid stretching associated with the weight gain and hormonal changes in pregnancy. While you cannot really prevent them, sometimes you can reduce their severity by hydrating your skin, eating a nutrient rich diet containing vitamin C and E and protein. The main issue is the skin collagen. The collagen and the elastin fibers get disrupted due to the rapid stretching associated with growing a human.
There is a specific compound, so something called Centella asiatica, which is an ingredient in some moisturizers, which has actually been shown to prevent stretch marks. Centella asiatica, also known as gotu kola, has been shown to have some promising effects in reducing stretch marks. And there's been many studies looking at this.
For example, there was a study, double blind. You know how much we like our double blind randomized control trials. There's a study in 1991 and another one in 2012. And they show a 60% reduction in the existence of stretch marks and very significant improvement in skin elasticity when using this compound.
If you're trying to find this ingredient, probably one of the most common brands you can look for is a brand called Cicaplast, which was created by dermatologists, I believe, and they do contain this ingredient if you're looking for it.
And remember, they're very common, and genetics have a big role into that as well. So you might not be able to completely eliminate them, but certainly you can minimize the appearance of stretch marks with some of the tricks that we have discussed here today.
It's also worth noting that stretch marks will be the most obvious or will stand out the most when they are new. Over time, they do fade. And if after pregnancy you find that they still bother you, there are other treatment options and things that you can do. And so you can speak to your medical esthetician about that.
All right, now let's talk about hair. That's my area of expertise.
You are the hair queen. I'm so jealous of your hair.
Let's talk about hair. A common question we get is, can I color my hair while pregnant? And I've actually spent quite a bit of time researching this, A, because I wanted to color my hair when I was pregnant, but also because I really do get this question all the time. And I wanted to make sure that I was up to date with the research. Basically, most research would suggest that semi permanent or permanent dyes are very low risk because only a small amount are absorbed through the scalp in pregnancy. If you are very concerned or very cautious, you can wait until the second trimester to color your hair. You can also try highlights of vegetable based dyes like henna that avoid the scalp contact entirely.
Speaking of hair, kind of on the other end of the spectrum, I guess, is hair removal. Now, some people want to continue removing body hair through pregnancy. And as we all know, there's waxing, plucking, laser hair removal, electrolysis out there. Now, laser hair removal and electrolysis are probably best avoided in pregnancy, not because they're necessarily dangerous or we know that there's something bad that happens, but there's just really very little safety data for patients who are pregnant who then have these procedures done. So, probably best avoid them just because we're not really sure if they're safe. Waxing is generally safe, but unfortunately, it might feel even more uncomfortable because your skin can be extra sensitive in pregnancy. And of course, there's always shaving, which is totally fine to do in pregnancy.
And I just want to put it out there. I don't do deliveries anymore, but I did for many years. And I know women get really worried about shaving or about waxing their vulva area prior to a vaginal delivery. Has obstetricians were telling you, you don't have to do that. We're not judging you. We don't care. We can safely deliver a baby, even if there's pubic hair present. So do it for you. Definitely don't do it for the delivery room nurse, and definitely do not have to do it for your obstetrician.
Absolutely. I agree with that 110%.
Another big question is about Botox. And the short answer is it is not recommended in pregnancy. Simply, there is not enough evidence to prove that it's safe. So it is better to wait until you're done delivering your baby and even after nursing.
A question that comes up not as commonly, but sometimes is facials and other skin treatments that people might do, like peels, for instance. You generally want to stick to milder treatments, something more like hydrating facials or oxygen facials. You want to avoid things that are really the harsh peels with salicylic acids, just because your skin is more sensitive in pregnancy. And so you may have a lot more redness and a lot more irritation than you normally would.
We have covered a lot of things on these episodes, and we said it before, but we want to say it again because I can almost feel our listeners like tensing up as they're listening to this particular episode. And I just do not want that. The purpose of doing this episode isn't to stress you out or make you feel that you've done something terrible because you didn't know this information. We just want to inform you. These questions come up all the time. So we want to make sure that you have the answer so that you can make the best decisions for you and your baby. We want to leave you with some tips. The first one is don't stress too much. But the second one is to simplify. You don't need expensive skincare routine. You don't need like a complicated 10-step skincare routine. Less is more during pregnancy. A good soap to clean your face, a good moisturizer can go a long way.
And sunscreen. Sunscreen is so key. That is the number one skincare ingredient. And again, sunscreens are very safe in pregnancy and are recommended. I secretly wish that I was a dermatologist, I think.
Yes, clearly
Yeah.
you miss your call.
Along the same lines, I just want to say that even though pregnancy means that you may have to take a break from certain things like, the Botox or, stronger retinols, those 9 months are not going to be the absolute make or break of your skin aging life, and that you can go back to those things once you've completed nursing if you are going to be nursing in the future. And really, with a good moisturizer and good sunscreen, you're not going to fall too far behind from where you would have ended up otherwise. So please don't stress out about that.
That's all for this episode. Remember, pregnancy is a journey, it's one step at a time, and it's about reducing risk, not aiming for perfection. And for more on this series, make sure to check out episode 55, I'm Pregnant. Now what? Part 1, Initial Testing, Vitamins and Diet, and episode 61, I'm Pregnant. Now what? Part 2, Nausea, Medications, Nutrition, Exercise, Weight, and Cuts.
And that's a wrap for today, superhumans.
If you're looking to connect, get social with us. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram at My Fertility Podcast or visit us online at mycanfertility.com. And don't forget, follow, subscribe, and share your favorite episode.
Thanks for listening to My Fertility Podcast and for being a vital part of our community. We know you've got this.
We're signing off until next Tuesday.
If you found this episode of My Fertility Podcast helpful, please take a moment to head over to the review section and leave us your thoughts. Your reviews and comments are incredibly valuable to us and help guide future episodes. We also welcome you to direct your questions to info@myfertilitypodcast.com.
My Fertility Podcast is produced by Rabbit Media Inc. in conjunction with Dr. Garcia and Dr. Weiss.
Music by Mixkit. Life is a Dream by Michael Ramirez C.
My Fertility Podcast is not intended to replace any type or variation thereof professional medical, health, or legal advice, nor should the content be taken as medical advice. Please contact your primary healthcare professional regarding any medical questions you may have. The information presented in this podcast is based on the knowledge and understanding of the host at the time of recording. Medical knowledge is constantly evolving, and new research may change the understanding of health-related topics. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, we do not guarantee the completeness, accuracy, or timeliness of the content. The views expressed in this podcast by guests are not those of the host or the management. This podcast is not intended to impose any type of discrimination. My Fertility Podcast and its management are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast.